Hi, my name is Jennifer Paxton, and this is my presentation on biodiversity loss of shark species. So biodiversity is the diversity of living organisms in an ecosystem, meaning the number of genetically and morphologically different species of plants, animals, and other organisms in a given area. Examples of biodiversity include species diversity, genetic diversity, and ecosystem diversity. Biodiversity is comprised of many levels. It starts with genes, individual species, communities of creatures, entire ecosystems, and just tons of interactions that have made Earth habitable for billions of years. The loss of biodiversity can be given as extinction or reduction of species in a certain habitat worldwide. In this case, it is sharks in our oceans. Um, it's a global issue. Can be caused by a variety of factors: human activity, habitat loss, overexploitation, climate change, pollution, invasive species, co-extinctions, and deforestation. Consequences of biodiversity loss: lowered resistance to grievous environmental changes, co-extinction of species, which leads to a disruption in food chain and food web. Protecting biodiversity includes habitat preservation, captive breeding. In relation to sharks, it's getting the government involved, getting laws passed, reduce invasive species. It's not necessarily an issue for sharks unless you consider humans the invasive species. Restore their habitat, seed banks, research, reducing climate change, and just a sustainable living. So sharks have been an invaluable resource for all coastal communities globally for centuries, and 3/4 of the shark population today is endangered or threatened with extinction. There are 100 million sharks caught globally. 2.8 million are hunted every year specifically for their livers, as they contain squalene, which is great for beauty products naturally. All the species are at a steady decline, and it's sad because sharks grow relatively slow and take many years to reproductively mature, and they produce very few pups per brood, so that's hard to build up a depleted species. They are keystone species with specific roles in their communities, and the genetic diversity of many shark species is incredibly low. Sharks are important to us, and not a lot of people realize that. They keep the food chain in balance. They're crucial to the carbon cycle. Um, Carbon loading in the atmosphere would increase at incredible rates if there were no sharks. Global warming would cause incredible damage with no sharks. And if sharks disappear, there's no sharks, there's no coral reefs. The water becomes toxic to all living creatures due to the algae and other plants taking over. This will lead to increased levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, food shortages, seafood would become toxic for us, and other oceanic species, their ecosystems would completely collapse. The homeostasis of sharks are infected, their physiology, the impact of their sense of smell and ability to hunt. Causes of endangerment to threats include humans. We are the #1 cause. That is through overfishing, the shark fin trade, because China has the delicacy of shark fin soup that they like to serve. People like to use their meat for whatever they can, their gill plates, their liver oil, their teeth even. They're caught by bycatch. There's garbage in the ocean from us. Chemical pollution, which we contributed to. Fear. Humans fear sharks, and There's so many misconceptions that cause issues: shark nets, baited drum lines, shark culls, habitat loss, meaning the loss of their nursing, their breeding, and hunting grounds. Um, the younger generation, ages 6 to 17, is where I'm focusing on because they are at that age where they admire sharks. They love sharks. And I feel if they can learn all they can about sharks and, they raise money. I know I've read tons of things where kids will have little fundraisers. They'll spend their birthday money on donating it to conservation projects for sharks. Just getting educated and understand that sharks are worth more alive than they are dead. This can also, with children, they can get their parents to not buy or consume shark fin soup or any other shark products. Um, they can try to get their parents not to go to restaurants that serve shark fin soup or other shark products. Just, they could even, when they're on vacation, go shark cage diving, as this is a huge income for local communities. This is my social ecological framework model. It has the human factors, local factors, global, federal law, economical, ecological, and even biological factors. Everything all ties together on why sharks are becoming endangered. And as you can see, all of our causes go directly to humans. Some past and current conservation methods that have been used, there's target-based policies, which, there's permits that you have to have, quotas, trip limits, gear restrictions, a certain time limit that you can. There's areas that are closed. There's a finning ban, one that's for fin to carcass ration. And then there's one where fins are naturally attached, where they're not cutting the fins off and tossing the carcass back into the water. Species-specific catch and trade restrictions, and a national plan of action. Limit-based policies are more like the fin bans, where you just can't fin sharks at all. Marine reserves, shark sanctuaries, where certain areas are fishing is not allowed for sharks. It is strictly just other species. There have been laws. The Shark Finning Prohibition Act of 2000, and then they added on for a loophole of the Shark Conservation Act in 2010. Proposed laws, there's been two, and they've been sitting in Congress since 2019, and they need to be pushed. There's an international shark conservation where they provide technical support for other countries' shark conservation efforts. Species are being added in the appendix 2 of CITES. Some top conservation groups that are global, that are out there doing a lot of work. There's the White Shark Trust South Africa, Shark Angels, Shark Savers, Oceana, Projects Abroad, which I am partaking in next April. The Wildlife Conservation Society, Shark Stewards. They're trying sustainable fisheries, and to me, I think that they are proving themselves to be unreliable and untrustworthy. They are not safeguarding our ecosystems of the endangered shark species as they claim, because they're not keeping track. It's leading to inaccurate data on species. Congress, they need to be pressured more into getting that law, the two laws that were introduced in 2019, passed. Even though the United States is making efforts to limit the shark fin trade, they're still doing business with those who do not participate and practice the illegal trade of shark fins. I recommend a shark-safe barrier technology that would replace shark nets. They're eco-friendly, they're non-lethal, ban finning of sharks entirely. bycatch reduction, um, more shark sanctuaries, shark fin trade bans. My swag would be coloring books, pins, buttons, bookmarks, a children's book entitled Harrison the Finnish Hammerhead Shark, ages 6 to 17, and I chose the younger generation because they're not set in their ways yet. They're more likely to be active when it comes to saving the species they love so much. In the future of my conservation efforts, I am now making monthly donations to shark conservation organizations, multiple at a time. I'm volunteering in April to go with Projects Abroad's shark conservation program in Fiji, and I would love to volunteer for the Great White Shark Project in Gansby, South Africa. I'm going to speak out on matters regarding sharks more than what I have since I was a senior. I'm going to reach out to my Indiana state representatives to get more attention on the laws that have been sitting in Congress's hands. And when on vacation to coastal communities, I'm going to speak out regarding the sales of shark products. And that concludes. And there are all my references. Thank you.